And finally lays Ghana's first lithium mining lease before Parliament amidst rising anxiety in Ewoyaa over prolonged delay in ratification and a freeze on the project.
The new lease has negotiated, sent to Cabinet for approval, and we are here in Parliament to get ratification.
We go to Ewoyaa in the central region where the community is demanding an immediate ratification. We're here from the community where 2 years farmers cannot expand their farms, families are trapped in unfinished homes, and the community's future is on hold due to the Parliament's delay in ratifying the lease of Ghana's first lithium mining project.
2 years deprivation from undertaking any economic activity. No farming, no building, no project. Everything is no.
More in our latest series, Hope on Pause, the Lithium Promise.
Still in Parliament, Majority Leader Afenyo-Markin before Privileges Committee for Contempt of Parliament for attending ECOWAS Parliament session despite his name being removed from Ghana's official delegation list.
31O specifically is what I intend to base my complaint on. 31O says any of the following acts or conduct constitutes contempt of Parliament or breach of parliamentary privilege.
Also coming up tonight, VAT tweaks, COVID levy lapses, and a peek into Ghana's financial crystal ball will bring you what to expect in the 2026 budget to be presented on Thursday, 13th November.
Mr. Speaker, aside the high VAT rate, businesses are not permitted by law to claim their input VAT for NHIL, GetFund and COVID levy, compounding the burden on households. Our VAT regime has been distorted and rendered inefficient.
And in business, we'll get you more details about plans by the Finance Minister to propose a marginal reduction in the VAT rate.
And in sports, Captain Jordan Ayew and Mohamed Kudus left out of Ghana's squad for Asia friendlies.
And we'll tell you why, though, because we're all looking forward to Kudus playing in those games. You want to stay with us here on News Night. Send me your thoughts, 055-11-11997. It's the WhatsApp line. My name is Evans Spencer.
My name is Ofori.
And we are back after this. And you're live here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. And tonight, government has finally laid Ghana's first lithium mining lease before Parliament amidst rising anxiety in Ewoyaa over prolonged delay in ratification and a freeze on the project. Frustration has been growing in Ewoyaa, home to Ghana's first lithium concession.
Now, for 2 long years, residents have watched their lives stall. Farmers cannot cultivate new lands. Families cannot build homes, and resettlement plans remain on hold, all because Parliament has yet to ratify the Ewoyaa lithium mining project. The community is demanding an immediate ratification of the lease to guarantee economic prosperity and development. Emmanuel Jivenu reports in the first episode of our new series, Hope on Pause, the Lithium Promise.
It was all joy in the central region when lithium was discovered within Infantiman municipality and the Abra Asebu Komankesi district.
This thing is going to benefit us and is going to provide us a lot of jobs.
But 2 years on, that joy has turned into deep frustration. The delay in ratifying Ghana's first lithium mining project has frozen all activities in Ewoyaa. No building, no farming, no development, just waiting. Under this tree in Ewoyaa, young men gather daily. It is their usual sport, once for laughter and plans, now for venting their frustration. All they can talk about is the moratorium and how it has frozen their plans. Among them is Richard Mensah, a father of 4, and Kwabena, a farmer. Both men are struggling to understand how a promise of development has left them with nothing. Richard leads us through overgrown weeds to what was meant to be his family home Now, just a pile of weakening cement blocks.
These are my cement blocks. I bought them to build a home for my 4 children, but the moratorium has stopped me from developing the property. We are all crammed into one small room. The blocks are getting weak.
He points to the red marking spread across the block, the official sign of a freeze on all development. He says he and his uncle bought 4 acres to build and farm on, but all that has come to a standstill.
We bought 4 acres of land so we could farm and build on it, but they have stopped us. They have brought us nothing but problems. I feel like crying. I'm the eldest and I'm supposed to lead the way for my younger siblings to emulate, but look at me now.
Like many in Ewoyaa, he once worked with Atlantic Lithium, a company that discovered the precious mineral. But when the project stalled, so did his job.
One day, they just told me not to come to work again. And before you know it, they won't call you back.
They issue a moratorium on the land. From that day, you can't farm, you can't build, you can't undertake any economic activity. So the mine takes stock of every property from the date of the moratorium. So if you go and do something new after that date, it's classified as spurious or speculative. That is, you are deliberately doing it so that you qualify for compensation.
Richard's frustration is shared by hundreds of residents, all trapped between uncertainty and survival. Not far from Richard's land lives Kwabena, a farmer and a hunter. His story mirrors Richard's.
My family gave me this land to farm. I started planting palm trees. Then they came and stopped us because they said they would resettle us from the mining concession. At the beginning, they engaged us and we understood what they were coming to do.
Yes, because the right thing or say because nice conversation.
He had planted plantain before the moratorium, and even that can no longer continue. Like many, he too lost his job when the company reduced operations following the delay in parliamentary ratification.
For 2 years, it's been 2 years now. I would have cultivated 4 more acres if the moratorium had not been imposed. I've lost out on so much.
2 years deprivation from undertaking any economic activity. No farming, no building, no project. Everything is no. So we even had to come in to go and negotiate that. Fine. Let them do this petty food crops like maize, like people were going to starve.
In October 2023, government granted Atlantic Lithium a 15-year mining lease for the Ewoyaa Lithium project. But before operations could begin, Parliament's ratification was required. 2 years on, that ratification is still pending.
They've come to count all the stored properties. It is really worrying, and we appeal to the government to ratify the project.
Here we have ratification and lithium for because so ratify lithium for now.
We, the people of Ewoyaa, need the ratification of the mining lease because when that is done, it will help us. So we are pleading with government to expedite the ratification process.
During this delay, a moratorium was imposed, freezing all building and farming within the mining concession. It has left residents like Richard and Kwabena stranded, compensations unpaid, and resettlement plans stalled.
But no company will invest into such a venture when the government itself is not helping by way of what? Giving ratification to it. So when I told them, they understood it. And they saw that it is not the fault of the company.
At the time the lease was signed, the global price for lithium was about $3,000 per ton. Today, it has fallen sharply to around $850 per ton, raising concerns about the project's economic viability. In the lead-up to the 2024 elections, President John Dramani Mahama, speaking at a meeting with the Central Regional House of Chiefs, stressed the urgency of rectifying the Ewoyaa lithium project before it risks becoming a stranded asset.
Right now, lithium is the favored choice for batteries for electric vehicles. But if we don't mine it quickly, otherwise, if time passes by, we have what we call stranded assets. You have an asset, but it's stranded. There's no longer any need for it. And so I think that is something, this is a national cause. If that revenue comes, it's going to come to help the whole nation.
With the collapse in the world market price of lithium, there is now consensus. The initial terms of the lease would have to be revised to keep the project viable. In July this year, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, told Parliament he has received Cabinet approval to submit revised terms to Parliament for ratification.
The Ministry has notified Cabinet of the company's request, and Cabinet has granted me the approval to present new terms to be considered in a new memo with revised proposal for the consideration of Cabinet and to Parliament thereafter to save the project.
We will not forgive them if they defer it again.
2 years of silence, 2 years of waiting. The people of Ewoyaa and the 7 other host communities wait for Parliament's decision, believing it could turn their stalled dreams into reality. Whether the promise of lithium brings prosperity or becomes just another lost dream depends on one thing: action. Emmanuel Jivenu, JoyNews, Ewoyaa, Central Region.
I want to catch the full episode across our social media platforms, also on myjoyonline.com. I want to take you to Parliament right now, where my colleague has been following this closely for us, James Aveji. James joins me live on the line right now. James, finally, the minister has laid that lease agreement before Parliament. What has been his reasoning for taking the decision now?
Well, Evans, the minister, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, in laying this, explained that there has been some activities that has happened before this deal is finally before Parliament. He said they had to do some adjustments to, especially the royalty. The initial royalty in the first deal was some 10% to government, and that was because lithium prices was somewhere around $3,000. He said the prices have come down, and so they had to do some adjustment to the royalty percentage, as well as the VAT calculation on the the mining of that. All of those have been taken into consideration for leading to the review of the contract before going through Cabinet, and then now today coming to the floor of the House.
Madam Speaker, as you know, the lease was presented indeed in the 8th Parliament for ratification pursuant to Article 268(1) of the 1992 Constitution and Section 5(4) of Act 703. But it was not ratified before the House adjourned. Since then, the basis in which the agreement, especially the price of lithium, at the time of the negotiation was about $3,000. Price of lithium had fallen, current price to about $630, making the project really at risk in going forward. The company appealed that if they were to go forward, certain key provisions must be looked at. Indeed, it was very clear and public knowledge that lithium prices had fallen. We took advantage of, at the time, the high lithium prices of $3,000 to, for example, move beyond the normal royalty of 5% and move it to 10% and other provisions. Based on their request, 3 key areas has been looked at: the royalty rate adjustment, VAT deferral on capital inputs, and SOP on transshipment facility feasibility. These 3 areas were new areas that has been factored, and that called for us to look at the new lease. The new lease has been negotiated, sent to Cabinet for approval, and we are here in Parliament to get ratification in accordance with Article 268 of the 1992 Constitution. I thank you.
And James, the minority raised some objections?
Yes, Evans, the former lands minister, Aborijinapo, rose to his feet and he called for the speaker to objecting to the laying, asking the speaker to reverse his order referring the deal to the Parliament committee. His argument has been first on the political basis that when they brought this deal, the minority at the time had raised serious objections to the terms of the agreement, and so he wants to know what has changed between then and now, also raising similar objections about that. It is on that basis he wants the speaker to reverse his decision on this particular referral to the committee.
Statement made by the current Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Speaker. The terms of it, the terms of the explanatory statement, is not different from the terms of the explanatory statement I made in this House as Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, I was going to pray and apply to you that the combined effect of Order 97, 1 to 6, the combined effect of Order 97, 1 to 6, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I was going to pray that this laying be overruled and this laying be rejected, because, Mr. Speaker, I have the various components the minister has submitted to this House.
And James, what was the Speaker's ruling on this?
Evans, the Speaker stood by his decision on this referral. His position is that if the committee works on the deal, it will come back to the House for more debate before final approval. And so he insisted that it stays late. It would have some 21 days to mature, and then it will be brought back to the House for further reading and the debate, and then there would be an approval or otherwise.
James, thank you very much. I want to bring in Dr. Frank Boateng. He is the acting director of the Institute of Mineral Resource Investment and Governance at UMAT. And thank you, sir, for your time here on Newsnight. So we heard from the community earlier. They want this ratified as soon as possible. This finally has been laid in Parliament for consideration. We've just seen the political play being rolled out before our eyes again, as you just heard there, the former Land and Natural Resources Minister. How crucial is it that Parliament considers this within the context of what we've heard from the community?
Thank you very much, Evans, and good evening to your listeners. Before I answer your question, I just want us to take this from, my context or what every Ghanaian is looking at. Unfortunately, we do more politics and more politics, and everything affects this country and the citizens. Let's look at this. Ghana had an opportunity to have had this deal gone through. For 2 years, a company has spent $68 million in sunk costs. If you look at the company's point of view, let's come to government. Royalties up to 10%, we've lost it. Free carried interest, 13%, we've lost it. Mineral Income Investment Fund, representing government of Ghana with 6% shares, we've lost out on dividend payments. Let's go to the community. The community folks can't farm, they can't do anything. Over 100 local staff have been laid off. And we are still doing politics with this. This is not good.
How important would this be for not only the revenue bit which you've talked about, but also Ghana's role in the global push towards rare earth minerals and green minerals?
That is even the sad point, because traditionally Ghana has been, a friendly mining investment destination. With this, future foreign direct investment into mining and our natural resource, investors are going to look at this country with a different lens. And this is not good for the future.
The minister today, please proceed.
Yeah, looking at it from this, look at what we've lost. Because now we are in Parliament again, looking to renegotiate, because the lithium price has gone down by 80% since 2022. So definitely government needs to step down on some of the terms that were agreed on. So because we did politics for 2 years, we've held on with this, and we are losing as a country.
And you're right on that point. The minister today makes a point about the global collapse in the price of spodumene. By the way, that's a raw ore that lithium is extracted from. And he makes the point that because of that, they are coming now with revised lease terms. Do you support that?
No. So if let's look at this. If you've already have $58 million sunk cost gone into a project that has been on hold for 24 months, the very commodity that your cash flows is gone down by 80%. I mean, it's sad. I mean, so as a country, we have no option now to meet Atlantic Lithium halfway. Otherwise, they can't continue with this project. And if this project fails, look at the people of Contempt.
Dr. Frank Boateng, thank you very much. He's the acting director of the Institute of Mineral Resources, Investment and Governance at the University of Mines and Technology. You want to catch the full episode of our series is across our social media platforms. Let's stay in Parliament, pal.
And the Majority Leader in the House, Mahama Ayariga, has cited Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin for contempt of Parliament, calling for his referral to the Privileges Committee. The Majority Leader's action follows Mr. Afenyo-Markin's attendance at the ongoing ECOWAS Parliament session, despite his name being removed from Ghana's official delegation list. Mr. Ayariga argues that his colleague's conduct constitutes a breach of Order 31 of Parliament's standing orders, which governs members' adherence to official assignments and parliamentary directives.
Specifically, is what I intend to base my complaint on. 31O says, any of the following acts or conduct constitutes contempt of Parliament or breach of parliamentary privilege. Any act or omission which affronts the dignity or authority of Parliament, or which tends either directly or indirectly to bring the name of Parliament into disrepute. So an act that affronts the dignity or authority of Parliament, or which tends either directly or indirectly to bring the name of Parliament into disrepute. Mr. Speaker, I think somewhere on the 22nd of July, this House passed a resolution constituting the delegation of Ghana to the ECOWAS Parliament, ECOWAS Community Parliament. Mr. Speaker, if you recall, we had removed the name of the Minority Leader Honorable Afenyo-Markin.
And you had the other majority leader in Ghana's parliament, Mahama Yariga. Let's go on the phone lines and bring back my colleague, James Aveji. He's our parliamentary affairs correspondent. James, what was the minority's reaction to what Mahama Yariga said?
Well, I lost you briefly.
Was just asking what are the minority reacted to what Mahama Yariga said on the floor today?
Well, Paul, so even before the majority leader could be allowed to make that statement, the deputy whip, Habib Idrisu, when he gave the indication that he wanted to make a statement, the deputy whip stood and objected his move to make that statement, insisting that it was not part of the items that have been listed on the order paper for the day, and so he needed to do the right thing. And the speaker stepped in, indicating that he, the majority leader, has sought his permission, and that was granted, and that was the reason why he has allowed him to make that statement. But just a quick background. So this delegation, some few weeks ago, every parliament, every new Ghana as a member of the ECOWAS committee has the liberty to renew members of the ECOWAS Parliament when there is a new parliament after every 4 years. And so the Honorable Minority Leader was the then Deputy Majority Leader who had the opportunity to be part of Ghana's delegation in the previous parliament. And so as we speak, he's also gotten the opportunity to be elected as second Deputy Speaker of that ECOWAS Parliament. Now, when this new government, this new parliament came in, they had to substitute the list per the orders of the parliament, and his deputy minority leader, Honorable Patricia PJ, was the one supposed to be part of the delegation. You recall that when that came to the floor, the deputy minority leader, Patricia PJ, declined being on the list, but the House insisted that per the orders of the House, that is what is supposed to be. And so with convention, they decided to put her name in the list and submit as part of Ghana's delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament. And so that's how come Afenyo-Markin was not part of the official list that was sent to the ECOWAS Parliament ahead of that meeting in Abuja.
James Aveji, our parliamentary affairs correspondent, thank you so much for that update. Still to come here on Newsnight, Speaker of Parliament, Awan Badmin, offers an unqualified apology to the judiciary over the chaos that unfolded during the vetting of Chief Justice nominee Justice Bafo Boni yesterday. Right now, it's time for business, and George Wiafe is here. You have news for us on the budget presentation on Thursday.
And I know you have more details later in
Exactly.
Newsnight, but also just a little bit that the finance minister is set to announce a marginal reduction in the effective VAT rate and also some massive tax reforms to the country's tax laws in the 2026 budget. And Tema Development Corporation intensifies its debt-to-recovery operations aimed at reclaiming millions of Ghana cedis owed by company occupying lands in that area. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Thanks and Pepsodent Herbal. Welcome back to business, and let's now settle for the details. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Atuforsen is set to announce a marginal reduction in the VAT rate that will be paid by businesses from next year. Now, this will be captured in the 2026 budget that will be presented to Parliament this Thursday. There is more in this report.
The move by the Finance Minister is part of measures to try and simplify the process when it comes to payment of taxes in the country. Government believes this could go a long way to encourage more businesses to honor their tax obligations to the state. This is because a lot of firms currently have complained about the current VAT structure. This is why the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiala Atuforsen, will push for the effective VAT, possibly from the current 22% by some marginal rate to 20%. The finance minister is likely to also move to roll out new tax regulations in the country. This will see the minister lay separate tax act to Parliament after the budget presentation. The finance minister will also outline additional measures that is expected to deal with the revenue mobilization that hit the country in recent times.
And that is the Business Desk report. Meanwhile, businesses want government to do more in the area of tax reliefs and stability of the Ghana city. Dr. Riverson upon is chief executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies.
Prioritizing measures to improve FX liquidity and reducing volatility to contribute in stabilizing the pump prices. One of the areas that we also want to see improvement, and that has to do with the tax policy expectations, one of them being probably looking at how the government would adjust the special petroleum tax. And don't get me wrong with this, we have been fighting for this since January, and we are looking forward to having the government take a second look at reducing the heavy tax burden on the downstream petroleum sector, and also look at a subsidy on the considering the ongoing distribution issues such as hoarding and resale at inflated prices sometimes. And if you talk to the fisher folks, they'll tell you point blank that sometimes it's even okay to go and buy a white product instead of waiting on the premix fuel.
And that is Dr. Riverson upon. He is the chief executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Now, the Tema Development Corporation has intensified its debt-to-recovery operation aimed at reclaiming millions of Ghana cedis owed by companies occupying its lands in that area. Kwame Yanka has the rest of the story.
2 weeks into its debt recovery drive, the TDC Limited is taking
I apologize for that challenge with that sound. And the Chartered Institute of Banking Ghana has revealed that only chartered bankers will be eligible to serve as branch managers or hold other senior level banking roles in the short to medium term. Disclosing this on the sidelines of the 29th National Banking and Ethics Conference, Chief Executive of the Institute, Robert Jatoso, noted that the Institute is in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Association of Banks to enforce these proposed reforms.
The Chartered Banker qualification, that's the ACIB, is now a compulsory qualification for all those working in the banking industry going forward. And GAB, Bank of Ghana, Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana, we are completely aligned on that. And as you heard in the governor's speech, that was re-emphasized. So over the next 5 years, you must be a chartered banker to be a branch manager. And that would then be scaled to all other job families going into the future. Because if you look at the Bank of Ghana fraud report, we really need to ensure that we put ethics and sustainability at the heart and center of our industry.
And so that is Robert Jato. He is the chief executive of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, actually talking about a new measure and trying to help improve the industry. And let's get back to our earlier story where the Tema Development Corporation was actually rolling out some intensified program aimed at reclaiming their lands in that area. And that's all for business on News Night.
And thank you very much, George. You're live here on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. And we can do some sports now. What were you saying earlier about Kudus not being selected or not being called? What is it?
Yeah, so unfortunately, Captain Jordan Ayew and Mohamed Kudus, they've been left out of the Black Star squad to face Japan and Korea. Kudus is injured. Remember, he missed Tottenham's game against Manchester United last weekend. Jordan Ayew, no official communication has yet been given as to why he's absent. But they are not the only absentees. Thomas Partey is also missing from the squad. Alexander Jiku is also missing from the squad. Fatah Isahaku and Iñaki Williams are also missing. But those who are in fact, there are 3 debutants in the squad. There's a Czech Republic-based striker, Prince Kwabno Owusu. He plays for Victoria Pleasant. He scored 6 goals so far this season. He's part of the squad. He's joined by fellow debutants Kelvin Nkrumah of Midiama Sporting Club. He's featured 9 times in the Ghana Premier League this season. He's played all the games for his club this season. And then there's Prince Osei Owusu. He plays for FC Montreal in the Major League Soccer. That's the MLS, same league that Lionel Messi plays in. And he scored 9 goals in 31 appearances so far this season. Ghana will face Japan on Friday before they will travel to Seoul to take on South Korea next Tuesday. Now, there's trouble in the Nigeria camp as the Super Eagles. Their preparation for Thursday's crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup playoff game against Gabon in Morocco has been thrown into disarray following the players' boycott over unpaid bonuses. The full squad, including officials, did not train earlier today in Morocco due to unresolved issues with outstanding payments dating back several months. The Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, they have yet to issue an official statement, but sources within the federation suggest that emergency talks are underway to resolve the impasse. Now, Portugal striker and captain Cristiano Ronaldo, he's confirmed that the 2026 World Cup will be his last. The 40-year-old has now scored 953 goals for club and country. Also said he will retire from football in 1 or 2 years. Next year's World Cup, taking place in Canada, Mexico, and USA, will be Ronaldo's 6th.
The moment is good. As I tell you before, I feel very good in this moment. I score goals. I still feel quick and sharp. I'm enjoy my game in the national team and Al Nassr. But of course, let's be honest. When I mean soon, it's probably 1-2 years. I'm still be at the game.
So you expect this World Cup to be your last? Do you?
Definitely yes, because I will be 41 years old, and I think will be the moment, and in a big competition, that's I don't know yet. As I told you before, I'm enjoying the moment, but when I mean soon, it's really soon.
Yeah, that's Portugal captain, legend Cristiano Ronaldo.
When you hear Ronaldo, you have to ask yourself, has Messi indicated when he's retiring? Do we know? We don't.
We do know.
But we know.
But I'm sure if Ronaldo ends, he also goes.
Yeah, but we know he's also certainly going to the World Cup.
Yeah, he's going.
Okay, you can guess that will be his last World Cup also. Yeah. Interesting. And Pearl says she is sad that he is planning on retiring.
Well, I love Ronaldo.
We love Ronaldo.
We love Ronaldo.
Yeah,
we are the Ronaldo fans.
I'm not sure where I stand on Ronaldo question. Although he was at Man United and loved him, I think his return sold that image slightly for me. The love just went to bed, sort of reduced by about 50%.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because he did a lot of damage when he
That's
came
Ten
back.
Hag's fault. It's not Ronaldo's fault.
Ten Hag's fault.
Yeah.
Well, Ten Hag didn't ask him to do that interview, but he did. Anyway, that's Cristiano Ronaldo. Thank you very much. And you're still live here on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. And Pearl, we are counting down to the 2026 budget presentation on Thursday. And this budget is expected to be heavy on VAT rationalization, which could pave the way for the removal of the COVID-19 levy, which President Mahama promised to scrap. Now, JoyNews sources say the new VAT structure will no longer be a cost to businesses, with a flat rate system expected to be abolished. JoyNews researches details of the new VAT, but first, let's hear from the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atofosing, when he promised these reforms in the 2025 budget.
Right, Honorable Speaker, we commit to the people of Ghana and this House, the business community, that we will undertake a comprehensive value-added tax reform this year, with the aim to review the current distortions and cascading structure of the value-added tax regime. Ghana's effective rate, VAT rate, is about 22%. This is obviously because the 2.5% Get Fund levy, the National Health Insurance levy of 2.5%, and the COVID levy are well added to the base for a final determination of what is due for VAT purposes. So, Speaker, aside the high VAT rate, businesses are not permitted by law to claim their input VAT for NHIL, Get Fund, and COVID levy, compounding the burden on households. Our VAT regime has been distorted and rendered inefficient.
And head of research here at JoyNews is Isaac Kofieje. So, Isaac, what do we know about these new VAT structure? Isaac?
Also, per our sources, this new VAT structure will be heavy on standardization. And you heard from the finance minister who said that the big problem has been the cascading effect. So with this new VAT structure, unlike the current one where we have COVID-19 levy, NHIL, and Get Fund levy being added to the base product before VAT is charged. That is going to be removed. And so you have the COVID levy, which will be out completely. But when calculating the VAT, the Get Fund levy, and the NHIL will not be added to the base, price of the product before VAT is charged. So essentially, this new structure will mean that the effective VAT rate will be reduced from 22% to about 20%. There will be standardization. The flat rate will no longer be there. And then we are also expecting, according to sources, that there's going to be some 0% VAT for mining companies who are hoping to do exploration in Ghana.
And is this likely to affect government tax revenue for the next year? And if yes, how?
Well, so definitely, if you look at the tax structure of the country, the tax revenue structure, VAT plays an important role. So with this new rationalization, COVID-19 levy will no longer be added. That rationalization will mean that NHIL and Get Fund will not also be part of the calculation. So that will mean that it's going to affect the projected, revenue for VAT for 2026. But per what we are gathering from our sources, government is hoping to close this gap that will be created with what they call, compliance, because they believe that the current cascading structure of the VAT doesn't warrant compliance. And so once they are able to restructure it, compliance should be able to, cater for the gap that will be created.
Isaac Ofori, Head of Research here at JoyNews. Evans.
It's a live on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM, and this will be in Parliament. We're going to be all over it for you, starting in the morning as far as the coverage of the presentation of the budget is concerned, and we're building into that with the series. And talking about Parliament, the Speaker there, Abumbabe, he's been offering an unqualified apology to the judiciary over the chaos that unfolded during the vetting of Chief Justice nominee Justice Paul Bafoboni on Monday. And this is not the first time vetting of a nominee turned chaotic in Parliament, because if you recall a few months ago, the vetting of Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Kando and the Foreign Affairs Minister Okudito Ablakwa both turned into fisticuffs. Similarly, the Majority Leader Muhammad Yariga's consistent objection during the opening of the vetting of the Chief Justice nominee yesterday, when he attempted to read a statement, as you know, stalled the process for 3 hours. Well, today we've heard from the Speaker. He says Parliament is sorry.
This morning, my attention was drawn to a few things. And I've come to deliver an apology on behalf of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana to their lordships and ladyships, the members of the judiciary who were present during the proceedings of the Appointments Committee held for the vetting of the nominee for the office of Chief Justice. Honorable members, this, as I mentioned, was brought to my attention, and they referred to certain comments and conduct of some honorable members during the said proceedings, which may have appeared discourteous or disrespectful to the distinguished members of the judiciary in attendance. Such conduct, though not representative of the collective will of Parliament, is regrettable and inconsistent with the decorum expected of members under the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana. Honorable members, the standing orders enjoins members to maintain order and decorum in the House.
And he also served a notice today that he will crack the whip the next time this happens.
And Evans, just want to ask you, what would you do if you didn't have water flowing through your tap for 2 years?
That's going to be difficult. Water is life. If you can't afford to drill a mechanized borehole, then God is your only salvation, I guess.
Well, for nearly 2 years, residents of Bachuna East and Central have endured a worsening water crisis that's taken a serious toll on their health and finances. Many say cases of typhoid, skin rashes and diarrhea have become common as they are forced to rely on rainwater and pay exorbitant prices to private water tankers. Now weary and frustrated, the residents say their patience has run out. My colleague Noella Karinyali has more in this report.
At Bachuna Eastern Central on the Spintex Road, specifically the district pay point of the Ghana Water Limited, and the desperation for water in the area runs deep. Residents say they've forgotten what it feels like or looks like to turn on the taps and see water flow. And for almost 2 years, they've had to rely on rainwater harvesting and water tankers who charge exorbitant prices, twice or even 3 times the usual rate, just to fill a few drums of water.
At the Daniel Classic School Complex International here in Bachuna, Mr. and Mrs. Ahaji say keeping the school running has become a daily struggle.
In fact, right from last year and this year is the worst, because I would say this year is worse because even the water we'll be buying, maybe 700 is now 1,000. The 400 is 600 now. You see, so this year is the worst time. And it will take you, when you have to order ahead of time, maybe 2 days before you can get it. Like, you see that this time I empty. I only hope is this. And if I don't give the order now, Monday will be in trouble. And so sometimes it is the rain that comes in and we get some, like you saw those, that's just this.
Let me speak to your wife. I mean, you run a school. You have a lot of kids here. Obviously, they need water to go by their daily activities here in school. How do you cope? How are you navigating the situation?
The situation is terrible. There was once we purchased the water, but it was like milkish. And you use this water to cook for the.
It was dirty.
It was dirty. Do you understand? So, and recently the children are going to admission, vomiting, running, which is not the best. So we want the government to give us water.
The chairman of the Residents Association, Mr. Thomas, says the water shortage has gone beyond inconvenience. It's now a public health and financial crisis.
To fill these tanks, I have to buy 800 cedis a week. 800 cedis a week. But the normal bill that I pay is 100 cedis because I use just about 6,000 gallons. So it is about 3,000 cedis a month for 1 year. One tanker actually told me that, if it's for a building or something, they are going to take it from a dam. But if it's for house, they will going to take it from a tap or a borehole. Only God knows the metallic particles, the rust. We find a lot of things. We find insects in the water. We find metal particles. So the rainwater is something that we have to rely on. As at now that we speak, look, the tanks are empty. They are all empty. Look at that. There's no water in them. Skin rashes have gone on the rise. The diarrhea, diseases, and so on and so forth. Vomiting.
Many here believe the situation has dragged on for far too long. Frustrated and losing patience, residents say they are ready to take stronger action if authorities fail to restore a steady water supply soon.
This is a situation that appears even to be deliberate. For an area to be without water for 1 whole year, it means that enough is not being done to service the community. The explanations are so different. So we have realized that there's the need for us to take our lives into our hands. So we are likely to take it up to a higher level. I mean, we are in a community, we are in Tema West. So therefore we have an MP. We have recourse to other means. We have the Tema regional authorities. We have the head office. We have the PURC.
From Bachuna Eastern Central, here on the Spintex Road, I'm Noella Karinyali, and this is JoyNews.
And that'll be all for News Night today. Before we leave the studios, it's time for Gig Squad, and the team is here. Adobia, you're talking to us today about the revolution of music.
Exactly. I mean, there were times that we were using CDs and cassettes. I don't even know if people still remember that.
Evans, you remember that?
by all means, but not the Gen Zs.
I recorded my first demo on a
Really?
cassette player.
Ish. Is it still there?
No.
Don't believe Evans.
My father's ghetto blaster.
Yes, we'll be talking about that, how it has evolved from that now to streaming online, Spotify and the likes. That's
It's
what we're
amazing.
talking
Not
about.
even the cars, they don't have CD players anymore.
No.
It was standard to
The
have a CD
new ones
player.
don't have, yes.
You can't even find a CD to buy.
No.
Do you remember DVD?
Of course. Watching movies.
Watching movies, that
Oh my
big thing.
God. Oh my God.
So yeah, stick with us this evening on Geek Squad.